So, hiya world, it's the 30th of April 2024. It's about 10 minutes to 5 in the afternoon UK time. Recently, within the last half hour, Mars in the sky has moved into Aries. Now, most astrologers, you say to them, okay, Mars has moved into Aries and you will get a collective shudder. But this one's a bit different. Why, I hear you ask? Well, I've already done a video for May, and that's live now, I hope, or if it's not, it will be within 24 hours. And on it, I comment how Mars in Aries is not going to be touching any other planet. So let's look at this, at least for a minute or so. Mars is now in Aries, where it will be for the next 40 days, plus minus 1 or 2 days. It is not touching Neptune anymore because Neptune's in Pisces, the next door sign. It is still loosely conjunct Neptune, but it's pulling away and will be completely clear within 2 or 3 days. Neither is it touching Saturn because Saturn is in the middle of Pisces, the next door sign. So Mars hasn't got, there's no relation there. Also, it's not touching Uranus because Uranus is in Taurus, the next door sign on the other side. No relation there. It's also not touching Jupiter because Jupiter's in Taurus. I know Jupiter will move into Gemini at the end of May, but by then Mars will be in mid-late Aries, so it's not touching Jupiter at all over the coming month. So in this next 1 month, Mars in Aries is not touching Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus or Neptune. Now in the next couple of days, Mars is going to be sextiling Pluto over the next 72 hours. And that's lovely. That's a nice window of opportunity for a much more stronger capacity for being assertive and projective as opposed to confrontational and aggressive. And it's going to particularly do well for people born at the start of Aries, start of Aquarius, probably the start of Gemini and the start of Sagittarius as well. But it's a short-term influence, 2 or 3 days at best. Mars is also not going to be affecting Venus, because Venus has just moved into Taurus. Mercury has just stopped going retrograde in Aries, so Mercury is now moving forward in Aries, but it's nowhere near Mars. So the only things that Mars is going to do over this coming month in Aries is it's going to conjunct Chiron, and it's going to conjunct the North Node. Both of these I don't consider to be massive in terms of event or event horizon. There's not going to be any specific development, event, situation or circumstance which can be put down at a global level to having Mars on top of Chiron or Mars conjunct the North Node. In an individual chart, where the Mars conjunct Chiron or Mars conjunct North Node strongly, very strongly, less than 1 degree, aspects a point in the personal chart, then yes, there probably will be developments. But the point of all this is that Mars in Aries over the next 4 to 6 weeks is wild. It's not even being affected by the new or the full moon, for goodness sake. So it's like Mars in Aries has got a free pass. Now on the surface that all sounds very wonderful. But wait a minute. Mars in Aries is not the easiest of energy. Now I know that 1 in 12 of people in the world were born with Mars in Aries. So you can't make generalities about 1 in 12 for the population. Nevertheless, Mars in Aries on the surface is seen as a very good position because it brings dynamicism, the capacity for being assertive and projective, although it can also manifest as confrontational and aggressive. It's brave, heroic, courageous, headstrong, rash, impulsive, accident prone, clumsy, dives in head first where angels fear to tread, actions speak louder than words. But in a birth chart, Mars in Aries is generally it doesn't in itself give good health. It does give a little bit better than average good recovery and good recuperation. But when you look at the bigger context of the world or the way it is at the moment, we're just coming out of the craziest month of the year. Now, Mars is now going to spend 6 weeks in its own sign, and it's unfettered, unrestricted, unlimited, and uninfluenced by any other planet in the sky, with the exception of Pluto in the next couple of days, but that's a bonus. So what this tells me is that at a collective, planet-wide level, Mars in Aries is not going to have a major impact. Mars comes into Aries for 6 weeks on average every 2 years. And this transit seems to be a sort of get-out-of-jail-free card. There's not going to be any major global influence that can be attributed to Mars in Aries. But at the personal level, it's a wild card. Exactly because there are no other aspects to Mars in Aries, this tells me that when Mars in Aries aspects any point in your chart, that influence is going to be much more pure, much more Aryan, much more Martian or martial. So depending on your own level of maturity, intelligence, and bravery stroke stupidity, if Mars in Aries is affecting any point in your chart over the coming 6 weeks, as it will with almost everybody, that influence is going to be unfettered, uncontrolled, much more pure, much wilder. Consequently, I suggest that everyone over this coming 6 weeks at the personal level is going to go for a number of situations where there's going to be sudden developments in their lives that are going to push their buttons. That is pretty much guaranteed. Whether it's at home, at work, in your relationships, in your community, with your children, with your money, whatever. The way you choose to react is negotiable. So you can be heroic, you can be brave, you can be courageous, you can take the initiative, you can be strong enough to go, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to get deflected and I've got my purpose in mind, let's make this happen. Initiatory, launching something, direct and focused. You can also be impulsive, rash, headstrong, where you can get all your buttons pushed and say or do something you later regret, born of spontaneity and frustration, only a day or two later to think, oh, what have I done? Look at the area of your horoscope that Aries is in. The house that Aries covers in your personal horoscope is the area where Mars is going to be unfettered and relatively uninfluenced by anything else over this coming month, 6 weeks. So it's where you could easily get your buttons pushed. Now, when I'm dealing with personal clients with this type of energy, I say to them, look, I don't have any truck with fate and destiny and predetermination. I leave that to the Vedic astrologers. I'm fine with them, but I choose of my own free will to be a free will orientated astrologer, working with words like free will, choice and self-determination. I personally go down the route of not believing that anything is cast in stone. We all have choice. To a certain extent, the outcome is not exactly fixed, but it's going to be the same no matter what you do. But the way you get there certainly is negotiable. So you can choose to be a dull, hot sledgehammer, or you can choose to be a homeopathic laser. Sharp, acute, focused, to the point. Now obviously the latter is better because then you get clear results. Whereas if you go in like a sledgehammer, you're going to do a lot of collateral damage, both to yourself and to others. So the intelligent and the mature out there will recognize this Mars in Aries energy and think, oh, I could easily fall down the rabbit hole here. I could easily get involved in something which is nothing really to do with me. I think I'll step back and count to 10. I think I'll take a day out to think of an intelligent response rather than just jumping in head first. Having said that, Mars in Aries is a lovely energy for initiating, launching and beginning something new, particularly in the next 2 or 3 days, in the run-up to the new moon. The new moon on the 8th of May is actually a lovely new moon. It's loosely conjunct Uranus, strongly sextile Saturn, and with Mars sextiling Pluto at the start of Aries and Aquarius, this is a great time for fresh beginnings and new starts. But the more you get into the second week of May, you get into a routine which is like, okay, let's use my energy so that it doesn't use me. So get out there, make things happen, be initiatory, launch, start, but don't ram your foot on the accelerator. Mars in Aries energy is very good at getting off to a really good running start. But don't go headstrong. Get yourself launched, get yourself going, build up a nice head of steam, and then take your foot off the accelerator. Don't put it on the brake, but get a nice rhythm and flow going, which then you should be able to sustain for the rest of the year. That's the positive side of Mars in Aries. Assertive and projective, laser-like, focused, sharp, initiatory. Use your energy, don't let it use you. End of sermon. Catch you later, world. Bye.